In this video, I'm going to discuss the next step of understanding Lesson 1. Momentum. Momentum is nothing more than a simple moving average with a long duration or long length. As you can see on the screen, we are looking at TradingView Bitcoin chart at the 1 minute interval. We have our lesson script loaded, and I have a length of 1,440 minutes, or roughly 24 hours. Now this is important because I want my momentum to show me a 1 day period. So as I'm looking at the screen, I can see that right now Bitcoin has an upward momentum. This is very, very important when trading. I don't want to trade necessarily other coins when Bitcoin is trending up or down. Only in the small windows like this here, where Bitcoin is relatively quiet, would I want to trade other coins like Dash or Litecoin. Now let's look at the chart some more, and we will be able to identify other areas that we may or may not want to trade in. Okay, as we can see right here, we have a good situation. Right here, the momentum is going up. Over here, the momentum is going down. Right here would be a good spot to buy. And if we can make it, up here is a good spot to sell. You need to be careful though to not try to match your prices to the momentum line. Your prices will never be on your momentum or your moving averages. And in this case, they are one and the same. Sometimes they are not. It all depends on the chart and what you are trying to achieve. So getting here, we have roughly 2.5% underwater. Up here is roughly 2.5% above water, so making that trade would be a 5% profit. That's not a bad trade at all. Even if you did miss it right away, if you got anywhere in this area, you would have made a 3% profit. And that's still quite respectable. So let's go looking, see if we can find other good opportunities to pay attention to. And there are many. Okay, as you can see, the momentum here is really dropping. For example, up here it's 2.5% above water. Down here it is 3.5% below water. So you're looking at a good 5 to 7% erratic drop. If you keep going back further, you'll see that the trend for Bitcoin has been going down. And that is what the markets have been showing lately, with a huge amount of losses, particularly over the last 2 to 3 days. But here, now this, if you're wanting to trade in ZRX or RPT or REP, right here where this is level, this is your altcoin market if you use Bitcoin as your base pair. This is important. You don't want extreme volatility in your trading when you have Bitcoin as a base currency. So you want a level or sideways momentum. And that is very important. But as we can see, this sideways level doesn't last long. About, let's say right here, about just a little after midnight to just a little before 9 a.m. would have been a good alt market or alternative coins, like many of these here that would be paired against Bitcoin. Here you have a slight downtrend, but still, if you were careful with your purchases, like right here, you could easily make a reasonable profit. Here is a slight market, not very long though, so it would have to be a very quick catch. If you could make a purchase here and then make your sale here, you could ideally get a good profit as well. But the problem with the market, and this is any market, is of course predicting the future. If we knew where the market would be from one point to another, it would be easy to plan our strategy and figure out how to actually place trades. For example, here to here is a huge downturn. You're looking at least 10% drop, and only a relatively short amount of time considering the market as a whole. So that is your biggest problem. And let's get this so that we can look at one particular aspect. Okay. Now we see the whole trend. We're going backwards in time so we know what the future is from this chart. That is, this is around the 25th. Here is a huge drop. Quite substantial. So if you bought something here, you could have taken up to as much as a 14% loss. And then we have this very sharp downturn. That is, our momentum is going down. It's not a good time to deal with the secondary coins or alternative coins. Because we don't know where this is going, we cannot predict that it might not still drop even more. And that has happened over the last 2 days, where the market just kept dropping in cycles without very little rebound. There are opportunities here, here, and here for purchases that can be sold here, here, or here. But it's an extremely difficult market to work with, and you need to really have a keen eye. Personally, I do not like to deal too much in trading anything against Bitcoin on this kind of a market, because it's too unpredictable and unstable, and there is no real way of knowing where the market is going. So I personally prefer to use fiat or stablecoin. But let's take a look at another coin besides Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Ripple. Okay, here we go. Again, we're using the 1 minute time frame with a 24-hour momentum or moving average. Okay, we are at the 27th here. Let's try to get this back to the 25th so we can compare it against the Bitcoin, the big drop we saw in Bitcoin that took place on the 25th. there are quite a few buy opportunities here that could produce some relatively decent profits. And the momentum looks pretty stable. Okay, we're almost there. And that should put us, and it does actually put us pretty good. Okay, there we go. Wow, look at that drop. Okay, okay, there we are. This is the drop that we saw in Bitcoin. Now, this brings up a critical point that a lot of people do not get right away. And that is, if you use a base pair of XRP with Bitcoin as your base currency, whenever Bitcoin drops, you will automatically see XRP drop the same amount or more, because it is paired against Bitcoin and the value of Bitcoin. That is a very significant and important detail you have to be aware of when you deal with cryptocurrencies. Despite what many people say, the various crypto coins are not independent on each other. Right now, Bitcoin has a 90% dominance. That means no matter what, whatever happens to Bitcoin is going to happen in multitudes to every other coin on the market. And there are roughly 6,000 different crypto coins available. So as you watch and you work with your cryptos, pay attention to Bitcoin, even if you don't trade in Bitcoin, because what happens there will happen everywhere else. You could even use Bitcoin as a mechanism to determine when you should and should not trade. When Bitcoin's momentum is flat, you have a good chance of trading in other markets. When Bitcoin's momentum is going down, you can expect the same thing in other markets as when Bitcoin's momentum is going up. This is significant to watch, but it also brings up the dangers of momentum. Momentum is a lagging indicator, meaning it doesn't always stay on top of the market at a rapid pace. It can only examine the past. But that can be said for any indicator. You never know the future, and so that makes it difficult to plan your strategies appropriately. All you can do is look at the past and get a measure. So momentum should never be traded upon directly, only indirectly as a pre-qualifier. As in this case, we can visually see this would be a good buy spot, and over here would be a good sell spot. That is, anything below the momentum would be good for buying, anything above the momentum would be good for selling. But you need to use another type of indicator to actually determine your entry and exit points, or your buys and your sells. Okay, I'm going to stop here for this video because I just gave out quite a bit of information. So when you're working with your charts, always use momentum to help you trade. That's the thing you need to take away from this. But only use momentum as a visual reference or a pre-qualification. Do not act on momentum by itself. So until next time.